Greetings, Taurus. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. This is your reading for this leading up to this beautiful Piscean new moon on the 13th. We're doing a shortened Celtic cross this morning. We'll go through, clarify. So we're looking at central point, basis, what's past, what's behind you, where you're at now, and moving forward. And at the end, I'll pull a journey map, a card from my own deck, and a Brian Froud, Pixie and Fairy, just for some lightness to top it all off. So let's just get into it. It's incredibly bright and sunny here today. We'll get a central point, please, for lovely Taurus. Thank you. A central point for Taurus at this what is quite a dreamy time. And we'll just get one more card. One more card. So we've got a couple. I haven't seen what they are yet. Let's wait for one to jump. For the basis for beautiful, well, they're all over the shop. The basis for this reading. Yes, this new moon in Pisces, a great time, and it does feel like that to me, a great time for letting yourself just really go with the flow if you can, and some of those dreams, fantasies. It's not a bad thing to do. Of course, everything has, as I say, its shadow side. But yeah, a great week for this. There's a few other things planetary-wise going on, and I'm not an astrologer, but Mars is in Gemini, so there may well be some, vigorous discussions going on at some point. It is in Gemini until the 23rd of April. Anyway, let's see, beautiful Taurus. We've got first cards coming out here for the situation in hand, and I'll go over this briefly and then we'll keep going. So we have the Eight of Cups coming out off the starting blocks, the first card. Now the Eight of Cups is a interesting card. One of the reasons I think it's interesting is because it contains two other cup cards within it. It contains the three at the top, the Three of Cups, and the five, the Three of Cups being of sorrow, the five of melancholy and disappointment. It can be obviously an intellectual, mental understanding of these things. Traditionally, we see with the eight walking away from these cups. They've evaporated. They're not providing us with, a full cup anymore. So it may not be physically walking away, but it does represent, and the eight's been a card of the mind also at this, speaking of Mars and Gemini, very mercurial ability to express. What was I saying? Eight's a mental card. It's not necessarily physically walking away, but there is a feeling about this card, about a level of emotional detachment that, let's face it, honestly, that is a saving grace often, is it not? So this is a central point for you, Taurus. We're crossed by, don't be alarmed, we're crossed by the Five of Swords. Now, the Five of Swords, fives are really cards that bring up, for want of a better word, conflict. But it's conflict in terms of understanding our own boundaries, isn't it? Because we need to have this sometimes. Of course not all the time, but sometimes, in order to find out where we stand. Are we standing up for our own personal integrity? What is our level of self-esteem? I do feel a lot of that about this Five of Swords, and of course swords are a mind element. So this is interesting in the central point. It's like, all right, Taurus, okay, maybe, you're in a situation or a scenario, whatever it might happen to be at the moment, where you're kind of assessing, what's in front of you. You've been through that suit of the cups, the emotional suit. What's where are you at this point? It may feel like detachment is the key to letting this play out, whatever this is. That's just what I'm hearing here. And I do say that because the basis of this situation for you, underneath we get the Hanged Man. Now the Hanged Man, I quite like this representation of the Hanged Man in the Thoth deck. With the Hanged Man, nothing's coming in, nothing's going out. It's actually I look at it as being self-imposed. I see it as actually giving yourself a level of respite at a time when there may be a lot of activity around you, a lot of noise around you. And look, how much more detached can you be? And in the state, Taurus, beautiful Taurus, let's keep going, of the Hanged Man, new information is being digested. Like the sort of sticky fluid in a chrysalid. It's doing its thing. There will be a point. It's just time where it transmutates into something else. So it's interesting. Now, with the Hanged Man, what came out with that also is the Lovers, a card of choice, a card of synthesis, that can be classically, about a relationship, or traditionally to read it as if it is a relationship, but ultimately it is a choice. It's about duality. It's about understanding the dualities of life and the synthesis required to keep these in a sort of balance. So it's pretty interesting, and the Hanged Man is pretty balanced here. He's in a good, it's a good position to take at certain points in our lives. Actually, it's necessary and it's productive. Ultimately, wow, that's quite intense from the first few cards. Let's see what's behind you, Taurus. What's behind you at this time, where we see all of this? Wow, all of this sort of, there's a lot of internal stuff going on for you, it seems, at this current time, Taurus. What is behind you? So of course we continue moving, don't we, forward, whether we're in Hanged Man or not. There's still a progression going on. What's behind you is the Knight of Cups. The Knight offers a reasonably mature offering. If you looked at this as someone in your life that could be some sort of possibly love relationship, like like a intimate, love thing. I don't like using the word romantic, but you get my gist on this. So if this is a figure, or if this is a figure in your own life, To me, this reading thus far, it does feel like it is a relationship situation. Let's see what happens as we move through. The Knight of Cups, as I say, is a reasonably mature offering. The only, as there always is, potential downside, or a polarity, let's say, let's keep it like that, is that the Knight can often be distracted just because it's watery, it's a cup. You know, he's got a beautiful crab in there. He's got a lovely crab. And this, you know, leading up to this Piscean new moon, there is a dreaminess here. There's a dreaminess. This could be aspects of yourself, dear Taurian. So let's see. But I do feel, it feels like, to me, something to do with a kind of sort of relationship situation. Let's see where we're at this current time, beautiful Taurus. What's happening right now? Where are we right now for Taurus, please? We get 2 cards. We get 2 cards. Okay. And we will go back through and clarify. So we get 2 cards. The first, the 7 of Discs, a card of review. Let's say, in a nutshell, the farmer looks back, looks at his yield, says to himself, look, all the energy that I put into this, am I getting really what I need to get out of it? It goes pretty nicely, the 7 of Discs, with the 8 of Cups, because here we are assessing at this current time. Possibly we're assessing relationships, and they could be any relationships. They could be just in life, with family, friends, whoever. But it seems that we are assessing our part and the part that we play, and of course our responsibility. You know, the farmer is responsible for his choices of what he plants as well, with the idea that he knows seasonal change and he knows when to plant the right things. So there is a self-responsibility about the, I'm getting that from this, about the 7 of Discs. This is how it's feeling to me. Interesting. With the, sorry, Taurus, with the 7 of Discs, this card of assessment, and assessing our energy exchanges, of which there is a constant. Everything is an energy exchange in this life. With that, we get the 5, another card of potential mulling over certain states that we may have become a little bit stuck in. Now, I say stuck. Sorry, we'll go through and we'll clarify a wee bit more. You know, it looks like a relationship assessment to me. So with the 7 of Discs, our energy in, energy back, forwards, you know, free flow current, we get the 5 of Discs, a card that suggests to us, it is a card of a kind of, because I do believe it is a habit, a kind of lack mentality. You know, if that is a habitual, you know, it's like the classic, you know, are you, which I find just sort of a little bit inane, that, you know, I'm a glass half full kind of person, or I'm a glass half empty. Well, yeah, but the 5 of Discs is a glass half empty always, and it's a choice to always remain in the cold, even you know, when you're standing outside, a wonderful, warm, nurturing, inviting place, and someone's beckoning and saying, come in, but you still choose to stand out in the cold. There's an element of, if we're looking at this in terms of archetypal energy, there's an element of the self-saboteur in the Five of Discs and also in the Five of Swords. Self-saboteur, and especially with the Five of Discs, the archetype of the victim. I'm not suggesting that you are. I'm just reading the cards as they've presented themselves today. So again, so if we're talking, we all have these. Those archetypes are in all of us. And we play them out at times. We play them out. We're all in this together, babies. So, so we see the importance actually of self-responsibility and being aware of this, you know, perpetual thing of always in lack mode. I do believe that this hanged man state is probably, if this could be quite a specific reading for someone out there, you know. But if you are feeling in that hanged man state, you are, you just don't want any, it's like sensory, I don't like using the word deprivation, but it is like you basically preventing anything coming in and anything going out in hanged man phase. And maybe in this hanged man phase, you're doing your own assessment, beautiful Taurus, which is a wonderful, amazing thing, because often people can, it is in our human nature, is it not, sometimes to avoid these assessments at all cost, and we just keep going on blindly. So let's just see, moving forward, beautiful Taurus. Wow, this is pretty intensive kind of reading. Moving forward, let's get one card to jump. Just one. Beautiful Taurus. Just one. Wow. This is amazing. And I'm going to go back and clarify. I need to really speed up a little bit here. And it does feel a little bit speedy. I think the Piscean reading was really speedy too. And this feels very similar. Look, moving forward, the Nine of Discs. This is about material abundance. Traditionally, a woman standing in her garden, birds, flowers, plants, a water feature, beautiful. Her dog, cat, frogs in the pond. It's a really beautiful card of material independence. It's a beautiful card. And with that material independence, you know what comes alongside that is a level of emotional independence. Maybe there is a burgeoning growth for whether you're male, female, it's not gender or non-binary, whatever you happen to see yourself to be. This is a beautiful card of knowing that you got to where you are because of your own effort. So good on you, Taurus. This is really gorgeous. So let's just have a look. So we see what can we peel back the layer for the hanged for the hanged man, just to see what's happening within that chrysalid of swords. What is happening in there? Yes, we get two cards. What is happening in this chrysalid of sorts. See this beautiful hanged man. We get this. We understand this. We have the 8 of cups again. And we also have the 2 of discs. We understand this need at this time for a level of, I'm just talking psychological detachment. It's almost, you could say it's the underlying feature of Buddhism, you know, to practice this level of detachment. It doesn't mean that you're not fully engaging with life or interacting with others. It doesn't mean that. You understand this need at this time, as I said, for a level of detachment. And with the 2 of discs, you know, as I said at the beginning too, it's like there's a lot of stuff going on around you at the moment. This is just what I'm getting, what I'm hearing here. There's a lot of stuff, which I heard at the beginning. There's a lot of activity around you. And what you're doing is you are keeping things in a kind of balance. Here we see the figure. He's balancing his 2 discs. And there is movement. We see the sea. There's this constant movement around him or her. But he keeps this balance. Now, life's all about balance. The state of the 2, it is also a decision. There is a decision that will be made here. Because we can juggle, we can keep things balanced, excuse me, for a period of time. Everything is about timing. And I'm not talking clock timing either. So you understand it. This is the hanged man. We're just keeping things in a balance here, and we've got a wonderful level of detachment because that's necessary for us, Taurus, it seems, at this time. So that's pretty amazing. Let's get a card for, I'm interested in the 9 of discs, this amazing independence. And then we'll get a journey map and a pixie and fairy card at the end. This 9 of discs, please. We see Taurus really being able to understand, the process that's going on at this current time, and for you. And I do believe it is in regards to, this could be just for one person out there, in regards to a particular relationship. So with the 9 of discs here, this card of material independence, abundance, self-made, and really enjoying it, really enjoying where you're at. This is in the position of moving forward, lovely Taurus. With that, we get one of the most stable cards, the 4 of discs, ruled by Jupiter, very expansive and full of encouragement. You know, we're holding our discs here. We're in a good solid position. We're in a good solid position, which is a wonderful thing. I would say the only thing to consider here is that sometimes we don't want to hold on for longer than is healthy for us, whether that be situations or relationships, is what I'm getting. But nevertheless, it's the 4s are all very merciful cards. We see this on the beautiful tree of life. I just getting something. It's gone. It came and it went. Right. It came and it went. Yeah, the Four of Discs. So I mean, you're in a wonderfully secure position, dear Taurus. I suspect there are. I really do feel that possibly this is what kind of came before. I do feel that there's something even more promising. That this is the beginning of a process. This is a process that you're going through. And I mean, processes aren't, there's not just one end point because they're constant. So it's constant movement through these currents of life, through time, place, situation. But what I get the sense that there's something pretty amazing even beyond for you, Taurus. Sorry, even beyond this sort of independence. There's something that's going to come from that. If you let go if you let go a little bit, which I do believe is what you're doing, if this makes sense, and yeah, it may well not resonate. If you let go, traditionally often the four, as I said before, know the right time. You know, it's good to be secure and have that security, but sometimes we need to let that go in order to continue to grow. I do get that, Earth children, and I've got a Taurus ascendant, so it's probably more pertinent for me, this reading, than the Gemini one will be. With that idea of letting go, we get the Lady of Loss. Don't be alarmed at this card. What this card is all about is realizing that your ability to express love is that kind of ability to express love is affected and is reflected, you know, when you do lose something in your life that you loved, you know, with all of your heart. This is just what I'm getting. It's really intense. The Lady of Loss comes to tell you that, but this is a beautiful thing, because your ability to love from every chamber in your central point in your heart is a power greater than anything. It really is. It makes me feel like crying. Taurus, this is a really beautiful reading. The Lady of Loss also, that's the large part of this card, but she also is an enfoldment, a security blanket, and a safety net. So if we're talking about this, the aerial acrobatics of life, we know we can fully express because this lady is our safety net. And she enfolds us with these nurturing arms to tell us that everything's okay. We can let go of a few of these discs. We're going to be okay, you know. And this reading could be largely about just dealing with change. There's so many changes, and people have experienced massive change in the last year or so, you know. And that is always difficult time to go with it, to deal with it, depending on what it is. It's just, there's so many different ways that this can affect us all. and individually. So it's, you know, look, just keep going there, Taurus. You're doing wonderful stuff. You're doing amazing things. You really are. So let's get a little pixie and fairy card for beautiful Taurus. This reading may well be specific to one person in the world. Who would know? We get what we get on any given day when we see. Now, look, go with your inner guidance here, Taurus. Whatever you've got out of this reading, go with your inner guidance, because the piper, this beautiful, and he's very sexy. I do get that from this card. The piper calls, and the piper calls all these great transitions in our lives, like all the points where there are massive change. The piper is there, indicating to us that our internal guidance system's working very well. Thank you very much. Thank you, piper. With the piper, my friends, we get the fairy who was kissed by the pixies. When we talk of this beautiful ability to express love from every chamber within that beautiful heart of yours, we see a full expression of life force in all its glory, beautiful Taurus. Look, I hope you got something out of this reading. It's actually really beautiful feeling to this read. So thank you so much, Taurians out there. Time and tides for this new moon in Pisces will be up later on today. So enjoy your day, have a wonderful week, and thank you so much for joining me. Ka kite. Toodle pips. Bye. Bye, Taurus.